Hi, my name is Patrick Reagan. The Computer Primary Component Series will look in depth of the individual components that make up the computer. This video called Computer Cases and Fans covers the function of the case form factors, cooling, and case fans. It also discusses the wire connectors that connects the case to the motherboard. The case is the external box that holds and protects the computer components. In addition, the case limits the flow of radio frequency interference, or RFI, from the computer. Since some of the interference can be broadcast as radio and television signals, a computer or any electronic component can interrupt radios, a television, or navigation equipment used in aircraft. The case may have additional wires that are used to connect the USB ports in the front of the computer to the motherboard and to the various LED lights found in front of the computer, such as the power LED and the hard drive LED. A motherboard header panel connector, often just called the front panel header, is a set of pins on the motherboard where you connect the case's front panel controls and indicators. These small connectors link physical case components to the motherboard, allowing basic functions like turning on the PC or showing system activity. It's usually a small block of pins grouped in a grid labeled something like F_panel, panel 1, or FP1 on the motherboard. You often need to consult the motherboard manual to get the correct pin layouts when connecting the case wires. Typical connectors on a header panel is the power switch, which connects to the case's power button, the reset switch, which connects to the reset button if the case has one, and the power LED, where the lights that show up when the system is powered on. The HDD LED flashes when the hard drive is active. An optional one may be speakers or buzzer, which is used for beep codes during post. Here's another example of the power switch button wires that goes from the case to the motherboard. The power switch wire sends signals to the motherboard when you press the power button. Remember, if you forget to connect this wire, nothing will happen when you press the power button. A form factor describes the physical dimensions, sizes, and layout. It also specifies power connectors and airflow. There are form factors for motherboard, cases, and power supplies. When installing a motherboard into the case, you must make sure that the case supports the motherboard form factor. Some cases can support multiple form factors. In addition, the power supply has to provide enough power to the motherboard and associated peripherals. For cases, the most common PC cases form factors from smallest to biggest are mini-ITX, micro-ATX, mid-tower, and full-tower cases. The mini-ITX cases usually fit mini-ITX motherboards, while the micro-ATX will usually fit mini-ITX and micro-ATX motherboards. The mid-tower case will typically fit ATX, micro-ATX, and mini-ITX motherboards. Full tower cases will typically fit ATX motherboards, micro-ATX motherboards, and mini-ITX motherboards. Large manufacturers such as Dell and HP will often use non-standard proprietary designs. Here we have tables showing the various form factors, with the mini-ITX case being the smallest to the super tower case. You can also see in the last column that many of these cases support multiple motherboard form factors. When choosing a case, you should be asking the following questions. Does the case have enough drive bays? Does the motherboard fit into the new case? How many expansion slots does the case have, and how are the expansion slots oriented? What type of power supply does the case have, and what is the wattage rating of the power supply? Computer components can produce lots of heat, and you should know that too much heat is not good for a computer. Therefore, you need to ensure that the system has adequate cooling. If your system or system components gets too hot, the power supply may shut down and the life of those components will be shortened. The power supply typically has a fan that provides airflow, which pulls cool air into the computer. To help keep the computer cool, Some cases will have additional fans. Computer fans commonly come in standard sizes such as 92, 120, 140, and 200 millimeters. The most common is the 120 millimeters. Some fans have variable speed based on how much heat needs to be dissipated. Form factors and system designs try to optimize airflow so that the cooler air will flow over hot components. Of course, more fans you have, more noise that the computer will produce. It should be noted that not all fans sound the same. Computer fans are powered and controlled using a 3-pin or 4-pin fan connector. A 3-pin connector is always on, while the 4-pin connector can be controlled and turned on only when it is needed or to adjust the speed of the fan. The 3-pin and 4-pin connector also has a tachyometric or sense signal, which will determine if the fan is running and the speed of the fan. If you have not noticed, the black wire or ground wire is always connected to pin 1. The hot components such as the CPU and the video card may have their own fans. Computers should hum and not grind. If you hear grinding, clicking, or scraping, suspect a fan or a mechanical hard drive. Some manufacturing computers and other specialized systems will be fanless, which means no fans and no noise. Instead, they would use a passive cooling such as a large heatsink as part of the case. Dust buildup can trap heat inside the computer. If you're in a dirty or dusty environment, you need to have fans to keep the computer cool. You need to place the computer into an enclosure with special dust filters. You also may need to clean the computer much more often. You can use compressed air or specialized anti-static vacuum cleaners to remove the buildup dust. Question: what is the purpose of the case? Answer: holds and protects the computer components and limits the flow of radio frequency interference or RFI radiation from the computer. Question: true or false? The case is usually made for only one specific type of motherboard. Answer: false. When form factors were discussed, cases can usually hold different types of motherboards. Question: true or false? Computers run better when it runs warmer as electricity will flow more efficiently. Answer: false. Computers do not like heat. While they can tolerate some heat, excessive heat can lead to reduced performance, system instability, and even permanent damage to components. Overheating can cause shutdowns or other issues, and sustained high temperatures can damage the CPU and other internal parts. Question: true or false? Dust buildup affects a PC's ability to dissipate heat, which can lead to performance loss over time and shorten the lifespan of components like your CPU. Answer: true. For more information, visit these sites. In summary, the case is the external box that holds and protects the computer components. The case limits the flow of radio frequency interference or RFI radiation from the computer. A motherboard header panel connector, often just called the front panel header, is a set of pins on the motherboard where you connect the case's front panel controls and indicators, including the on-off switch and the various LEDs. Besides the fan that is included with the power supply, some cases may have additional fans to keep the computer cool. Thank you for watching this video. The next video will be computer primary components, Part 8, power supplies. If you have not already, subscribe to the Pat Has Your Back channel. Thank you.